Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The presentation will be about muscle damage and repeated bout effect following a typical dose of Nordic hamstring exercise. Background. So, Nordic hamstring exercise is known and is used to stimulate hamstring eccentrically, as also Fratelli et al. Shown 7 years ago. And when this happened acutely, chronically, the chronic effect of the Nordic hamstring exercise has been shown. It's actually meta-analysis, 2 different meta-analysis, reported that the effects as increases in hamstring strength and fascicle length as effective for Nordic hamstring. So these 2 factors, the eccentric strength and the fascicle length, are acknowledged as risk factors for hamstring strain injury. So the point is, Nordic hamstring, which is an eccentrically biased exercise, is suggested now as recommended also by the literature to be included or incorporated into the resistance training for especially random biased exercise and sports. For example, FIFA and the class incorporated, I suppose, 12 years ago or 15 years ago, I can't remember. So the point is, eccentric bias exercise, especially in this case, Nordic hamstring, is recommended to decrease the risk factors injury strain risk. This generates a little bit of confusion. We cannot claim that Nordic hamstring is actually effective to reduce injuries, but for sure decreases the risk factors. However, even though we have set the stage for the systematic use of Nordic hamstrings is perceived as dangerous, is perceived as fastidious because of muscle soreness and decrease in performance following, especially the first bout. These are 4 surveys that investigated the actual use of Nordic hamstring among professional athletes. And what is raising is also that Nordic hamstring is perceived as really fastidious. So, although it's suggested theoretically, in the practice, still some effort to be included. Particularly muscle soreness and decreasing performance are part of the larger phenomenon which is called muscle damage, which is typically following eccentric bias exercise. In addition, the muscle damage following the first bout has been shown to confer a protection for the subsequent bout of the same exercise, even the same dose. So, which is the repeated bout effect. Therefore, the aim of the study was to investigate muscle damage following Nordic hamstring exercise and the subsequent repeated bout effect. This is the study design. So we had 13 sports science active students. We had the familiarization, a couple of sessions to familiarize with the exercise and with especially the strength measurements. Then we had the baseline in which we measure eccentric strength and we see passive muscle soreness, muscle swelling, and equal-intensity. And we repeated. Then we had the Nordic hamstring bout, and we repeated after since up to 4 days. The whole procedure was repeated after 4 weeks to show the repeated bout effect. This is how we measure eccentric strength and hamstring maximum voluntary contraction, range of motion, muscle soreness. This is muscle swelling was investigated by anatomical cross-section area using ultrasound and similarly equal-intensity. We used 2 anatomical sites, 50 and 30% of the femoral length. Intervention, we had, intervention was, let's say, was calculated to be ecological. So we didn't want necessarily induce a big amount of muscle damage, because if we would have done something like 100 repetitions, of course, muscle damage would have occurred. But the point was using a dose which is typical and ecological. So we analyze a bit the literature. This is a meta-analysis. And also we interviewed some practitioners to let us understand what was the typical dose. So we came out with 4 sets, 5 times 6 repetitions, and inter-repetition rest was 10 seconds, and inter-set rest was 4 minutes. Let's move to the results. So first bout, second bout. These happened very similar. So the first bout we had a decrease in strength. So we have strength loss, both eccentric strength and isometric, and both recovered after 4 days. This is what happened during the first. The second bout, we came up with decrease of strength loss that lasts only 24 hours. So after 2 days, the strength was recovered after the second bout. Passive ROM, first bout, we had a decrease in passive ROM that lasted up to 4 days. So passive ROM didn't recover during the week, and after 4 weeks recovered much sooner at the 3rd day, so the 4th day was completely out. And muscle soreness, we had an increase in muscle soreness, especially in day 2 and day 3, and the repeated bout showed no increase in muscle soreness. No change, we had no change at all in muscle swelling, so as indicated by the anatomical cross-sectional area of the whole hamstring muscle, and no change in echo intensity taken as a single hamstring muscle and combined muscle at both 50 and 30% of the femoral length. So no symptoms of structural muscle damage. Let's move to the discussion. So hamstring strength loss, first point is a little bit lower than usually reported. This is an important point, and we contextualize everything at the end. The full hamstring elongation capacity was not still recovered, especially after the first bout. So we have to be care about this, especially when we want to insert like drills that needs full elongation or almost full elongation of the hamstring. Muscle soreness was not synchronized. This is another important point because well, we have the author of the papers here, so muscle soreness may not represent the whole muscle damage. And this is another point that we will be discussing in the practical application. The dose we have no meaningful symptom of structural muscle damage. Because the contextualization of the present procedure is important because muscle damage, the magnitude of muscle damage depends on several training factors like muscle length, number of repetitions, velocity, movement velocity, force intensity. So we know that this extent of muscle damage is contextualized to the dose we have, the dose and also the technique we have set for this study. After the repeated bout effect show overall or either faster recovery or even not increase at all, especially for muscle soreness. So some practical application before closing. The first bout of Nordic hamstring exercise should be considered to be included where the interference with other drills is not as damaging. So when, for example, it's in season, when what happens in the days before or after is not significantly affected by or even though it's affected, it's not significantly important compared to what is in season. We know from the literature that the first bout doesn't need to be so damaging. So even small damage bouts can be used at the beginning, and this confers further protection when the regular dose is used thereafter. So this is an important point, because we don't need to damage the hamstrings of the poor players that already perceive soreness. About soreness alone may misrepresent the actual muscle damage. So when athletes say, oh, it hurts, I have pain, I have soreness, we should care about this, the actual sensation or the actual muscle damage that non-decamping can cause. So we have to be careful when interpreting a personal sensation. Once we have done the first, the second non-decamping bout can come easily. And after the second, we know that the recovery is much faster, the interference with the other disc will be much faster and will be much less. So we can include non-decamping into the even in-season program. Of course, since we have said that muscle damage depends on different factors and not only number of repetitions and load, I mean the eccentric load that can be incremented, for example, putting something more in addition to the body weight. We should follow the progression principle of resistance training, which are based also on other different parameters, like, for example, muscle length and movement velocity. In this regard, movement velocity was shown to be.
Okay, we're out of time there.
Sorry, I was. Thank you. So I hope to stay focused on this one, not on that one. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you.